You gonna share the link on Oh, we good.
Here we are. We're live, buddy.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, let me turn this one down. There's delay in every damn thing over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on this one on the other side. Here we go. Yeah, so there's a delay right there. Let me turn closed. I think the closed caption is on. I'll leave it. I don't know if that's on my Facebook or it's on.
I don't see. I'm looking. I'm trying to find. You said it's live, right?
Yeah.
What is it? It's live on your personal page or Mo Betta Mondays?
It's live on the Get Back Show.
Oh. Oh, that's right. That's right. Because I'm about to share it now. Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
See the delay?
Personal page or Mo Betta Mondays? Yeah,
it's live on the Get Back Show. Oh. Hey, what's happening, everybody? We are in the midst of making sure we're good to go. This is Mo Betta Mondays with Mr. Mo Betta himself, me. And I got my guest, Tad Nips. The Mo Betta Mondays is still powered by the Get Back Show. It's powered by the Get Back Show, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Tad gonna hit you with the deuce.
What's going on, man?
Man, ain't nothing much, brother. It's good to catch up with you. It's been like a year and a half almost since we've been talking here and there, but it's been a year and a half since we sat down. So just to catch everybody up, we do have another show called the Get Back Show podcast, and our first season was talking about the premise was entrepreneurship. Was entrepreneur centric. Myself and my co-host Jasmine, Jada Cole, you can follow her on Instagram, and Isaiah E. Those guys were my co-hosts, and we had Tad on the episode Go DJ, That's My DJ, because Tad Nips, spelled backwards, is Spin That. I still remember. So it was just interesting to get his perspective because he actually was moving out of I guess he's still using a lot of those tools, but going from that into launching into his poetry career and other entrepreneur ventures. So that's how Tad actually performed at a set I hosted. Was it Rhythm and Rhyme?
It was Rhythm and Rhyme.
Yeah, at Rhythm and Rhyme. Shout out JCF Productions. And that's where I met Tad, and he came on the Get Back Show. So here we are a year and a half later. He's still rocking and rolling. Hey, man, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Really quick, man. First of all, thank you for bringing me on again. It's been too long, man. It's been too long. But first of all, my dear friend, I'm glad for the opportunity. What's been going on in the past year and a half has been it's nothing but blessings, man. All good, positive vibes and energy. The entrepreneurial spirit is still strong. The ventures are still growing, and we got a lot to talk about. The poetry, I'm jumping, man, jumping.
Yeah, man. You and Justin, and then I was. You know what was dope to me was the Real Kings.
Yeah, the Real Kings of Poetry. So the cool thing about that is me and Justin, we started we did it as a show. It was just a show that we did from a piece that I had called On Behalf of Kings. And then that turned into Real Kings of Poetry. And we did one show, and then a group of other like dope poets in the Dallas area was just hitting us up, and it was like, yo, man, let's roll. And we was like, if anybody want to ride, anybody want to roll, they can. And they got on, and we had a 11 city, 7-state tour set up, and we was rocking and moving, and then COVID hits. But big shouts out to my brother Justin, I Do Me. And I got a surprise for you today by the end of the show too.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, man, y'all both go hard. I I love having y'all when y'all come out and spit, man. So when we did go DJ, that's my DJ. There was a question because we talked about entrepreneurship. There was a question that I asked you, so I just wanted to follow up since it's been such a long time since we talked about that. Is that first question was, what did entrepreneurship? What does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
So I know over the last few months, things have changed, and with not even just with COVID, just about what you guys have been doing with expanding the brand. So how has the definition of entrepreneurship changed for you, or has it changed?
It has. And not only I hate to say just changed. I have to say it grew or it evolved.
Mhm.
The biggest change, though, sticking with the question, would be that nobody knows what they're doing. And when I say that, I'm not saying we're not educated. I'm just saying you don't know entrepreneurship. No one. I look at entrepreneurship like being a doctor. You know how a doctor never masters medicine. They
Mm.
always practice in medicine. That's how I feel it is with entrepreneurship, man. It's always something new, always something that you can innovate, always something that you can create, always something that you can scaffold or build upon. And I learned that over these past 6 months, honestly, from January to now, from, like you said, from working with Justin, from having two separate brands, bringing them together and creating something. And then, of course, COVID hit. And then looking at, well, how can we be innovative in this way? And we weren't the only ones, but a lot of people do, the live open mics. And then, sometimes you even have to step into a new lane under the same umbrella. So we look at it as like, the way I look at it is entrepreneurship is an ever evolving thing. So that's the biggest change in my definition of entrepreneurship isn't just one thing.
Definitely. So with that, that's a great segue into the next question, because if you recall, I always ask, what was your free fall moment? And we had a pretty depth in conversation about that, because it was you, it was Jay
Clip.
Yeah, and you guys were there, and we were talking about that free fall moment. And one of the things that I've come to realize over the last couple of years myself is that with with entrepreneurship, you don't just, like you said, you don't just stay in that lane. You may have to pivot. You may dip into another venture. Instead of just, what about being a free fall moment? Do you consider yourself more of a free fall artist right now? Because that's really, you're continually, just like you said, you're continually growing and doing different things within entrepreneurship. And I feel like with every new venture, I believe that with every new venture, every growth spurt that you may have, you take another free fall. You know what I mean? You are, you're growing, your heights are growing. You say, you know what? Let me just jump off the cliff right now, because now you're brave. You're braver than you were when you first started.
Exactly, man. And that's why I said, to be an entrepreneur, you have to constantly evolve. So you're right, that free fall moment. And I never looked at it as calling myself a free fall artist, but you're exactly right, man. You like the opportunity is there. And when you're right, that confidence built, because once you've taken that first dive and then you get out there and you feel how it is to fall, you're like, okay, I'm all in. It becomes easier to go all in because you realize your capabilities are only limited to what you say you can or cannot do, man. Do you remember that when me and Justin did our first Painting with Poets, or it was one of those shows?
Yeah.
We had like 30
people too, right?
Yeah. We had like 30 people. And then we was like, we're gonna do this stuff again full time. It was only 2 poets. It was me and Justin, and we was paying other people to come. We did another show, and then we saw how the business model started to change. And then people stopped wanting to just come and get paid to show up. They wanted to be a part of the movement, and I think that's one of the biggest adjustments I made. So it's not even a sense of just being a poet and an entrepreneur. Now we're in a situation where we have a group, and now we're not paying people to come perform, but we're actually putting people under the umbrella. So it's almost like, and I don't want to call them employees like that, but we pay them for their services as well, because they're actually a part of the company now.
Yeah.
So that's another asset I even thought, or another aspect of it, I should say. because we're not just paying freelance people. We're bringing people in and we're paying them under our umbrella. So most definitely.
Man, it's always a that's one of the reasons you get into business, right? Or you start a business is you see something where you can use your talents and your abilities to not just bring products, but also present a product to everybody that can affect change. But in that same sense, to provide opportunities for other people to work and also utilize the full scope of their talents and their abilities, man. And that's one of the blessings. That's I was proud of you guys when you started, because y'all move fast, man. Once y'all made the decision to do it, bro, y'all like was flying, because y'all got the spot within what the spot was like within a couple months, right? It was really quick.
Yeah.
So the timing was awesome, man. So I commend you guys on that. And then just also, man, the leadership. People have to see something in you in order to want to become a part of the movement. And see the vision, and for you guys to be able to convey that to other artists, and for them to want to come and share their gifts with you, that's dope. So with that, this one of my gifts, I had to, not that I had to come to realize, but I knew it all along. It was just the acceptance of how to put it out there. But I host open mics, and I've been hosting open mics since 2003. I've hosted and been a part of growing open mics, and that's what I love to do, because I love to find new artists, whether it be poets, singers, rappers, whatever it is. I love it because it allows you to express. It's freedom for you to express yourself and paint a picture of life in word form. And that's one of the reasons I love poetry so much. So it was a blessing to come across you, man. It was like a breath of fresh air to come across you guys. And I mean, man, just to watch you spit and then to see you grow. So I want everybody else to be able to experience a bit of that. And I would want to ask, if you don't mind, if you'll share a piece with us.
No problem, man. Most definitely I will. In fact, it's my pleasure to do so. Let me just get straight to it. All right. This piece is called We the Poets. Real rap. We the poets. We the reason your favorite rapper delivers subpar bars and y'all applaud. We the reason they repeating over tracks that's beating to make your head nod. We are the pinnacle of fear for your pop stars. To be lyrically great, it requires effort they wasn't bred, born, or built for. They write shit like dope man, bitch form, whip form, stunting on these niggas. I be shining, they can't wait for it. I wrote that off the cuff. I better copyright it. These rappers are steal it and call it a cut, try to pass it off as gas. To me, this shit trash. We are lyrical giants. We are lexicon dons. They just A all day like the fonts. We are beat makers, tyrants, but a producer's hope of smoking our fire takes their skill higher. Hey, put your W's up. You ever wonder why Wale weep with winners? We warm with writing with wonderful, wonderless words with wild crowds, wordplay, wake, weary, wondering, whatever. As you can see, all we take is W's. We the poets, the manifestation of what makes the lyrical mediocre your heroes. Wouldn't step foot in heroes or ride their ass past the borders of poetic city. Wouldn't dare step to a yours truly or a masterpiece. And then there's me, the realest of the rare, dedicated to the cleanse flare, spitting for the whole crowds like nobody's there. Black hole to the room, I void they voice of air, no oohs, no ahs, just a new reigning air, and I'm the new reigning air, and I'm on a new wave. And my new phase is reading books by Bobby Glanton, a wordplay, writing shit with Stanton, my nigga out of H-Town, you know what it is. So let's get it. You're welcome. No, you fucking welcome. Cause I grace stages and mics. I turn gay women and dykes to straight women who fight for my attention. It's possible, don't be offended. If so, wait till I finish spitting. If I don't change your mind by the last line of shit, handle your business. And I know what you're thinking. He just gonna do another love poem like Melanin Goddess this, or Black Queen that, or love poem. Yep. But you're gonna listen like a 90s love song, and if she stand up too fast, I'ma swear her water broke. Now you wanna go half on a baby, but first grab your coat. Married women probably half on a maybe. Y'all ain't crazy. I'm this nice. I'm gifting and cursing. I'm your wildest dreams while your nightmares worsen. I'm here to save marriages or break up happy homes. It's your decision. But the stage is my division, and the mic is my utensil. And if you intuition, I could pencil you in to take a crack at a win. But this shit here's 7A, so check your math and show your work. And no touchdown on my craft if you don't know what's worth. Poetry. Hey, why did they tell me it felt this good to be cocky? I talk this shit because I'm stocky and can't nobody stop me. Real rap, we the poets.
Yo, every time I hear that piece, son, it get better and better, man. Especially when you hit the alliteration with the W's.
Yeah.
Whatever.
you see what it, as you can see, all we take is W's. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's my joint right there. I like that one, man. Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned Dwight Payton said Mississippi tuned in.
That's my brother.
Right, that's your brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shout out to the family.
Oh yeah.
You said that you were writing a lot during quarantine. So that's really what I want to ask you. How is the pandemic? How's life been for you personally during the pandemic?
Okay, that's a good question. And I know my views on it are going to be a lot different than a lot of people's. But first of all, I know it's real. I know this is a real thing. People are losing their lives. People are losing family members. And according to, the media, we are at risk. We're the highest ones at risk. And we're the ones who have not recovered from it. We're more susceptible to fatality. But with that being said, I've always believed that a strong immune system is the best defense against anything. And the reason I say that is because when something comes to fight, if your immune system is strong enough to fight it off, there is a higher rate of survival. And that's with any disease, any flu-like virus, or whatever the case may be. So I'm a big believer in health. But the way my writing has changed and the way it's affected me is I had to start to take a look back at our history as a people. I've always written with not just myself in mind. But when you look at it, what are some ways that we can do? What are some things that we can do to prevent it from affecting us so deeply? On top of being cooped up, there were opportunities for us to grow. So being in this pandemic, I found the best thing to do was not just to be physically fit and physically healthy. That mental thing is real serious. Whether people believe it or not, your mental can affect your physical health. So that was my thing. And I started to wonder when I wrote some of these pieces, like, well, how are my brothers and sisters dealing mentally? Because as strong as we are as a people, we do have to realize that we have some traumas that we have not dealt with as a people. So that's one of the things that got me. And the second thing was just to be productive as much as possible, man. Take this time to rest, to be able to reflect. I mean, as a brother, how much time do we honestly get to reflect on our life or to reflect on things that are going on when we're always living with one eye open or always looking back over our shoulder, whether we're the most upstanding citizen or whether we doing some things we probably shouldn't be doing. We've seen in America that we always have to have one eye open. So that's kind of how I went into writing during this pandemic.
I got you. That's you make some very good points, man, especially about dealing with the traumas and just your mental your mental capacity and capabilities during this whole thing. I think that's one of the most important things. People, the thing lately has just been about, everybody's been talking about manifestation and all of those things. And the biggest part of manifestation is the mental aspect of it. It's what you project and what you put out there, and then also what you receive too. So I think that people being able to slow down for the last few months, because life slowed down. People were able to slow down some and really take a look at themselves in the mirror too, and really just begin to deal with those trauma areas, things that they hadn't recovered from maybe their childhood, especially for men.
Yes.
Man, I know a lot of brothers who have been doing a lot of reflecting and just wanting to move into a new space in life. And it just wanting peace within themselves. So I think that aside from it being real and us being in a public health scare, and just dealing with those issues and so much information and the information highway is the Autobahn right now, man. It's
It
wide
is.
and there's so much stuff out there. And that's what I tell my kids. It's like, you're going to hear a bunch of people tell you it's not real. You're going to hear people tell you it's real. And I'm like, you have to be smart enough to sit down and do your research. Do your research, look at things, read. Don't just take what other people say as word. You got to find out for yourself because your life is literally on the line. You know what I mean? Don't even just take what I'm telling you. And this is me talking to my 16-year-old son. You need to go in and check on that. Don't just hear something off of YouTube or see a video on Snapchat and now that's the breaking news, because it could be nobody checked their source.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been an eye-opening experience for a lot of people, including myself. And I've been busy the whole time. Like I wasn't fortunate enough to, well, I'm not going to say fortunate because nobody really wanted to be sent home. But I was still going into the office every day. So I was still fortunate enough to be going into my job every day.
Mm-hmm.
And still, but still having enough slow time at work to really just deal with what's going on. But man, so the question is that I still see you moving around. I mean, so how have you been able to maintain a viable business during the global pandemic?
Oh, I'm glad you said that, man. So the biggest thing is, first of all, shout out to my book, King's Work. The book has been moving. So that's been keeping me sane. So I want to thank everybody who's, purchased the book. But also I figured, you know what, if I'm going to add to my business, there's no reason for it to stop with the ideas just because of a pandemic. So products. So more than just the books, it was creating merchandise. It was creating products that people would need. For example, I make candles, body butters, and now body scrubs made by Real Rare Naturals. Shout out to Tiffany Davis for that. She actually makes Real Rare Naturals body butters and scrubs. She makes those and under the Real Rare umbrella. So it helps. It really does help to find something that people need. So to me, the way to be profitable and still to stay afloat while you're running a business is to create more business. Need change. Those public live shows, they change. Doing internet radio shows, they change. So for example, I do 2 shows now. I do 1 show on Wednesdays with the Mobcast on IDFW Radio. And as of 2 weeks ago, I do a show with King Charles on King Charles Topic of the Week on Fishbowl Radio Network. And these brothers, they brought me on after an interview. So that's not even all credit to me. That's brothers who, saw something in me that they liked. And all I could say was, hey, I'm down. So it's been profitable that way.
That's dope, man. That's good stuff, bro. So wait a minute. Where are we going to get the book at though?
The book. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have put that out there. As I showed you earlier, my website is launching soon. It's just a few more tweaks and it'll be launching. It'll be available on realrarepoetry.com. But for now, you can find my book on Amazon. When I released, I was the #1 African-American poetry author for 2 weeks on Amazon. When I first released it, you can find it on Amazon at King's Work, or you can search Real Rare Poetry. Either one of those will come up. It'll be the first thing that you see on Amazon. Also, if you are in the DFW, if you hit me up, I'm gonna send them your way. I'll mail them to you. I'll meet you somewhere. I'll deliver them. Like, the hustle don't stop. If you can go get food and you can have somebody deliver you some food to your crib, you best believe Tad Nip's gonna deliver a book, a candle, a body butter, or a scrub to your doorstep. I'm coming.
My man said, I'm gonna bring it to you.
That's it.
So coming from hey Twyla, coming from just being in the quarantine, and that it seems like things kind of just started snowballing.
Yes, sir.
Just with everything that's going on. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on where we are and what seems to be like a global awakening by the blacks in America?
Brother, you opened up a can. Let me say this. First of all, big shouts out to Twyla. She's actually one of the hosts on the King Charles Topic of the Week show that I was invited to. And it was her idea actually to invite me on as a guest. And so shouts out to her for that. Glad you're watching, Twyla. But how am I feeling or how am I dealing in this thing? I've told many people before, now is the time. I don't know what happened or why it took so long. I don't know what was so different about the murder of George Floyd, and let's call it what it is, a murder. Yeah. I don't know what was so different about the murder of George Floyd to, Eric Gardner or Philando Castile or all of these other, it's too many names to mention. That's the problem. It's too many names to mention for these types of scenarios. But maybe in my mind, I'm just thinking maybe it was because it was filmed so long. It wasn't a 2-minute, a 4-minute, or a 5-minute video, man. That video was 8 minutes, over 8 minutes. That was a long video. And I guess that's what it took. Most people say, well, we don't know what happened before. And they gave the rest of the world gave excuses as to why these things were happening. And I guess, with George Floyd, that was the last straw. And I don't mean to say this to incite anything, but I will say I've noticed that since these things have broken out, you learn that old trick of the bully and the guy who never fights back. We've gotten to a point where we've gotten so tired to where we started to fight back and the world has taken notice. Nobody will protect someone who won't even try to protect themselves, who doesn't care to protect themselves. And the fact, and I'm sorry to say this, but, I think it's good that, the family wasn't so forgiving. I think it's good that the family wasn't quick to embrace those who are, who committed this murder. To me, I think that's a stand-up thing for the family. And it showed that strength. And it says, hey, we're not backing down. And the rest of the world sees it now. And they start to see our power, man. And that's what I love about it. So my feeling, honestly, if I can be honest with you, is rage. It's rage. And it's a rage that's very necessary because now we're fighting back. They're seeing that we will fight back now. And I love it.
Yeah. I was talking to my son about it, and we were having that conversation, and he was like, Dad, you should go listen to Lil Baby's new song.
Yeah.
Have you heard Bigger Picture?
I listened to it for like 2 hours straight because I was so amazed. That's not one of my favorite lyricists, I would say. But the talking point, the points that he made, that's something I would have expected to hear from some of these more conscious rappers that I praise so much. Not knocking them because they do talk about it, but it's something for this young man to say what he said and the way he said it that kind of resonated with me. Like, yo, he's young.
He was touched. Like he was in the streets. You know what I mean? He went to the front lines and he was out there. So you can't. I don't think you can come back from being a part of that and witnessing that and still be the same, bro. And so, and I feel like, I'm going to be honest. I told a good friend of mine, that I literally, and it's hard sometimes because I get emotional because I'm a father. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm a father, and man, just thinking about my son and his friends, because all those boys come by my house, and just being responsible for them when they're over here, but also when they leave here, you know, like right after all of that started going down, they went to go work out up at the school, and there's 5 of them. It's 2 young brothers, it's 5 young brown and black brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they all in the truck. We live in Plano, whatever. And I'm not saying Plano cops are bad. I'm just you're nervous, and that's what I'm telling them. And I'm talking to them when they drove away. Like my anxiety level was so high, just because you thinking, damn, I could be the last person to, that I'm the last person that they talk to. So let me tell them something. And so you feel responsible to have to be like, listen to me, this is what y'all need to do. And that's the conversation I had with them. But I sat in my car, man, and I was just the other day, and I was just in tears. I went from being mad to just really just being in tears because my heart was so heavy with everything that was going on, and the level of hate is so the level of hate is so heavy. Just about like literally watching a video of some kids that are trying to discuss and embrace a situation and embrace discourse and talk about it, and then to go and see the comments, and it is some hateful comments in there. And this is like it was 6 kids in all, but these are like 19, 18, 19, and to see the level of hate that people speak to them with, and even the kids who were allies, the young white kids who were allies, for people to talk to them the way they talk to them. And I'm just like, you know what, man, that's why I sat in my truck, Tad, and I was in tears, man, and just praying, because just being a father and then being close to a lot of these kids and understanding what they have to deal with. And they may have seen it a little bit, but they haven't really felt the full brunt of it. Some of them haven't. And then for me, growing up and having felt it before, being called nigger, being called porch monkey, having to fight every day, being called blackie, moving to a town where it wasn't that many black people living there. Now you go there and there's a bunch of black folks that live there. But being one of the first families to move there and having to deal with that, and I think I had to deal with all of the trauma just came rushing back. And it was overwhelming for a moment, and I was pissed. I went from being pissed to want to shoot some shit up, to burn some shit up, to really just getting a hold of myself, man.
When you started just to run down the list, I remember this, I remember that. Do you recall? And I shouldn't be asking you a question. I know the interview's supposed to be flipped, but
you good?
Do you recall that first run-in with the police?
Oh yeah.
And you're young and you don't know what's going on, and you're thinking your whole life how police are good, they help. Even when we saw it younger growing up, we saw at least they're reasonable. That's on TV, but then it becomes a reality for you. You don't shake that. So when you said, my son and his friends were going to work out of school, what instantly went through my mind? Were you driving them there, or were they walking? Were they driving? Were they driving themselves? Was it, how early in the day was it? What part of the neighborhood were they coming from? What time were they going to be coming back? All of those questions arise when you started to tell me that. And when you said you sat in your car and you teared up, I'm like, that's real. And they'll say that sadness, man. I'm going to call that rage as well. There's a rage because you felt like burning something down. You felt like tearing something up, because at the thought that something is so possible, it's highly likely that something could happen and you're not in control of it.
That is the angst that you deal with, and that I've dealt with, and other parents are dealing with. And I think one of the things that the parents and the family members of these young people of other races that have become allies to the movement, they're having to feel the same thing that we feel every day, not just as individuals, but as a parent, when these kids are going out to protest and to see the violence, the level of violence that the police were meeting protests with, the peaceful protests, that they were meeting them with that level of violence and force it was worrying. And just, I think a lot of them were starting to, I hope that they would take a moment, take a beat, and really consider, now imagine if my child was black going out there. You know what I mean? And this is a small microcosm of what we deal with through our life. You know what I mean? So to really just be empathetic and really just to begin to see what was going on. Killer Mike made a great comment. He said, when they were talking about Drew Brees and what he said, and he said it's hard for you to have empathy because you have not been educated. And it's hard to have empathy when you're not educated as to how somebody's plight and what they deal with. And for my hopes are through all of this that people who consider themselves or call themselves allies in this moment, that they continue to educate themselves, but not just our allies, that we continue to educate ourselves as well too, because there is a gap that needs to be closed in history. We're missing some history. That's a lot of these kids don't have the history that we were given, and we have to take some onus on ourselves too, and begin to give them that history and begin to sit down with them and talk to them, but also our elders that are still around. Man, 3 weeks before this jumped off, I called my kid's mom and I said, maybe they will take this better from you. But you need, when you talk to the kids again, just talk to them and encourage them to, when they're with their elders, to not be so quick to go run and close themselves up in the room, or to be trying to go somewhere when they get to that side of town, but to really just sit down and spend time in the kitchen. You ever get a chance to sit in the kitchen with your grandmother?
Sit and listen.
And listen. And that was it. There's an interview with Dave Chappelle and Maya Angelou when he said, I just want to sit here and listen to you. It was back in 2014. And he was just talking about respecting his elders and listening to his elders. And that's what I wanted to convey to her, to pass on to them. And as I think, as our generation, as adults and as parents and as aunts and uncles, brothers, sisters, and cousins, if you're an elder in your family, you need to show them how to listen by listening to your elders too. There's a lot of wisdom too. There's a lot of pain and there's a lot of wisdom in there. And there's some things that we can take away to help bridge the gap and continue keeping this next generation on the right path, so that they can correct it with the next generation. You know, it's, even though we break generational curses, it still takes a couple of generations before it's settled in. With that, man, this is such a historic moment in time right now, right? Relevance of it as it pertains to the plight of our people and what's going on, but also just for you as being an entrepreneur, what does it mean to you right now, having a Black-owned business at this moment in history?
Two things. Number one, like I said, it never stops. But what it means now is we see it. There's nobody in the world can deny our experience now. Nobody in the world can deny our experience. So now as an entrepreneur, you know what I do? I don't miss the opportunity. Not to say I'm an opportunist, but I'm saying I don't miss the opportunity, like you said, to educate. So not only has my writing changed, but I told you I had to get out of the same poetry lane and start something else. And I posted about it about a week ago, but I started my own gym. I got an LLC. I started my own personal training gym. And it's called Game Shock, but it's a mentoring program for young boys, for our young boys, because we need it more than ever. And I saw that as an opportunity. A lot of the times, you know what these kids are going to be doing? They're going to be in their mamas and them house playing video games or doing whatever. How about a time to be constructive a little bit, to try to learn something, to be productive? So my thing was, I have something that I could share. I think I invited you and your son now, right?
Yeah. We come.
So my thing is like, here's an opportunity. Even if I'm 33, but if the kids are 16, 17, 18, I can teach them something. I can show them a little bit of experience through something. And that's what I did. Shouts out to Twala. Me and her had a conversation about a week ago or a couple of days ago about, working with her sons. The same thing. I'm glad to do it. I'm so glad to do it. I would like to run it as a nonprofit, honestly. And so far, so good. I secured the LLC. So since that's all I have right now, online classes, trying to be able to train, but also being able to pass a word on. They're going to see mentors who look like us. It's not just me. I can't say it's just me, but there are going to be other brothers who look like us, other brothers who are tangible. And when we say success, we're not talking about millions of dollars, but I'm talking about success as living a sustainable life.
Yes.
And we're not just talking about it. We're tangible. You could come and see us. You can touch us. You could talk to us, and I think that's the biggest thing that our young brothers need is some people that they can talk to. It wasn't until I got older that I realized my dad growing up was really my best friend. Thought he was the worst and the hardest, but it was his wisdom that taught me everything that I know. And we like to have those aha moments when we get older. Starting this business, the second business was my aha moment. Expanding on the Real Rare Poetry business was my aha moment, and when you get those, you have to embrace them. So during this time being a Black business owner, this is my chance to give back. Of course, I'll make money, but I want to run this as a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. That's dope, man. So, well, whatever you need from me, you got it. Just hit me.
Yes, sir.
Resources are your resources, man. I know people that know people.
Yeah. Hey, the first thing I need from you is to come get in this gym and work out with me, man.
I'm with it, man. I'm trying to be big swole like you, homie.
I'm trying to get there, man. I'm trying to get there.
I'm trying to be big swole. So we talked earlier just about how you have been writing during the quarantine, and I know that the things that went on recently, I know that had to spark some words, man. You mind sharing a piece? I know you got before.
Yeah, man. This piece, I won't even lie, man. It's hard for me to even complete it, just because it's that it's, I ain't gonna say a tear jerker, but it's that piece that talk to you and you realize that it's not just about you. This piece is about everybody who is affected by this. Everybody that's affected by this. And it's a little bit out of my character because of the title, but I think you'll soon see why. But I can do that piece now.
All right, man. Lay it out for us, poet.
All right. Well, the name of this piece is Justice. Beat that bitch Liberty ass. Let's go. See, Lady Liberty ain't too familiar with poetic justice. That's how y'all scream all lives matter except us. Ironic how all lives let us know it's just us, and y'all done fucked up this new breed of protesters. Been protested. We protesters. We the offspring of the seeds that came before. The non-violent ones that y'all ignored. The ones that was politely knocking on doors. We new here. We kicking this bitch in. Word to Tupac, bitch, let us in. We here with the vengeance. Not to rape and pillage, but to take back what's been taken. Starting with our identity. We need it. More than before, our culture's been vultured. We devote hours to front lines. Y'all promote horrors too many times. We sick of it. Time's up. There goes the buzzer. Line them up. We soldiers. Don't toy with us. Been winding up. Gas that battery pack all day. Ready for what? Justice. Lady Liberty. Take that blindfold off. Giving the false illusion of fairness. Your scales been tipping in the same direction. Our souls been burdened, so it's easy detection to select a nigga, any nigga without question. Cause in your eyes, any nigga, every nigga fit description. I thought you were blindfolded, too many lies. Y'all describe and subscribe to brutalize. Then 2020 hit, youth awaken, they start cashing in. Okay, get your subscription. Thugs, y'all mean criminals, y'all mean animals, y'all mean kings, we mean riding into battle for the sake of the brethren taken to make up for the inhales we couldn't make, just called in the cavalry, but not that religious folk, those souls of ancestors who realized what happened when they first went through it. the ones who realize that Michael's methods has some truth to it. Y'all want to play a game? That's it.
Hey, that's dope, man.
That's the sample, man. It's a long piece, man. I'm not finished with it yet, but that's a brother. That's one. That's one, man.
I can feel that. That's gonna set the room on fire, man.
I intend to.
That's gonna set the room on fire and get some people to think. Well, hey, Tad, I just want to tell you I appreciate you, brother. I want to speak peace and light into your life, man. It's been a pleasure since the moment I met you, of just watching your growth. You've been inspiring. I was just talking to he remembers you, my son remembers you. So for me as a father, to see the impact that you have not only on the kids that you teach and coach, but to have an impact on a child that's in my house, man, I'm appreciative of that, brother. And to everybody out there, I just want to leave you guys with this. We're going to close out for this week. Again, Tad, thank you for your time. For everybody else that's tuned in, I just want to say thank you for sharing your time with us and just opening up your minds and your heart and listening to what we have to say, not just about what's going on with COVID and also with the protesting, but just life period itself. And I do want to encourage you guys. I just want to leave you with this. History has shaken and shaped all of us. We should forever be changed now that we've seen through truth's looking glass. And that's it. Until the next time, this has been JP Green, aka Mr. Mo Betta. Follow the Get Back Show. Come check us out every Monday. We'll be here Monday at 7 o'clock, streaming live on somebody's IP address. As always, sending all my prayers up for you and my love out to you. Peace.